slurs, new verbs, new curves, new nouns, new sounds.
Bob Kaufman was an American beat poet whose work was rarely published in written form, unless his wife was there to write them down. Much of his work is remembered in oral form, and he ultimately wanted to be forgotten, not leaving behind a legacy. By the way, I got this information from his Wikipedia page. As a teenage high school male who spent lots of time on the internet, I found myself infatuated with the rhetoric of a man named Milo. And I'm talking about an independent musician from Wisconsin, not pond scum with a pair of sunnies on. Milo, also known as Scallops Hotel and now reborn as Rap Ferreira, struck a chord as somebody with a million references to give, from Boogie Nights to Bang Bros, but he ultimately strikes you as somebody who thinks and thinks and thinks until the thought bubble has a beer belly, and then lets it all come out like snot in a hot shower. Sorry. Spoken word poetry tends to speak to me because of the way that it's written. Some of my favorites are just a loose arrangement of tangentially related items like a pasta necklace, or an I Spy page, or an I Spy page with a pasta necklace. Together, all these images will create an atmosphere, and then you can make like a tiramisu and soak it all up. Rap Ferreira's latest album is just like his Scallops Hotel projects on the side, where the stakes aren't as high, and as an experience, it's like flipping through a clear file with loads of old writing drafts to pull from. This allows for a nicely relaxed exploration of the power of language, and most importantly, the moment. The moment is the present tense, how you make use of it to create an impact. Here's my really piss example that I stirred up in a few seconds. Let's say I started talking about rivers, and no, I don't have the new Weezer album early, fuck off. If I describe the river like, this river is a sullen trickle that pulls its way through the skin of a weak earth like a flushing sink tap, then sure, that's evocative and descriptive, but you're still thinking of a river, right? Well, what if before I said all of that, I preluded it with a phrase like, my eyes are stinging? Does that not then transform the emotional impact of that river line? It is a heavy-handed example, but the point I'm getting at isn't the importance of context necessarily, but more the idea that in some of my favorite poems, a word can presently mean so much more to you because of the words that you've heard prior to it. And although I'm sure Bob's Son as an album is exploring much more than that, I also think it's an album that acknowledges how new discoveries are made through these language kickflips. Bob's Son is like liquid. Its beats are mostly jazzy, crudely sewn together, and easygoing. This music is like a conversation past midnight, to yourself, in your head. Can't sleep. Ferreira rampantly flows down his stream of consciousness like it's a little kayak, and with his paddle he ends up striking a cosmic beauty without even trying too hard. Too few smiles between here and Minneapolis, and this beat reminds me of angels turning coat within seconds of each other. Just hits this place of abstract beauty for me, somewhere between the feeling of a really wonderful party that's going to end soon, and the honeyed juice from a rockmelon slice dribbling down your chin. The beautifully named track Yamships Flaxseed, which sounds like one of those tongue twister exercises that school choir kids keep singing to themselves, features some of my personal favorite observations, whether Rap Ferreira is describing pep talks with Pimp C in his dreams, or Sal on the first verse appreciating what it means to not explain yourself, just simply be yourself. You ask if there's a method to my madness, and I replied, do you want me to lose it? A lyric that I've screenshotted off rapgenius.com. Authentic discovery through exploration of your own feelings has been a constant request of Ferreira's, as far back as an old tape from 2012 where he spins yarns over Bath's instrumentals.
It depresses me I can use Google Maps to find your house. I swear to goodness the internet takes all the adventure out.
And the bigger picture is evoked through an outro on the track Strength, from a speech by Gregory Corso, who addresses the futility of relying on art to change the world in vitally large amounts. Can we really make a widespread impact with what we write? A mere poet in the chomping gape of the wide world feels a little exhausting and vulnerable, surely.
Still kill for that. I'm like how snipers feel about open fields with that. You make yourself an easy target. Sure. 22,369 miles above sea level, and you looking like a bullseye.
The album finishes with the reading of Bob Kaufman's Abominist manifesto, a made-up ideology that may not be as weightless as it first seems, and I think the key is in the name, Abominist. To me, calling to mind abolish and communism, combined with Kaufman's own disinterest in leaving behind legacy, the grounded idea underneath all this absurdism is to try and dissolve away or abolish individualism, no longer worrying about having a personal impact yourself, but instead to embrace an in-the-moment feeling and share that as a community, as a collective. In other words, don't stress over what it means to appreciate snowmen or to enjoy an oatmeal cookie. Just appreciate the snowman and enjoy your oatmeal cookie. Make the most of the present tense and let it mean something to you. Ferreira even struggles to pronounce one of the words in the poem during the recording and just leaves it in the song. Rap Ferreira does refer to the philosophies of other poets to back up his own, but the takeaway is that he is no doubt an auteur. There are images that you'll be touched by, images you'll be confused by, punchlines that'll make your gut roll, punchlines that'll make your eyes roll, but the thing is that it is all unapologetically through his eyes, and he's sharing it with you. It's writing that makes you love writing, use of language that makes you love language, and makes you love pronouncing out loud the phrase love language. And I would not shrug the thought that there's more where this came from. He seems to be dropping a fresh project every year, which means he's an outlier for musicians under the surname Ferreira.